In this carnivore bite, we talked to Coach Raymond about the big question of carnivore. How do you poop? And we hear from a lot of people that they have issues when they're going carnivore with poop, that they're constipated, that they're having diarrhea, all manner of issues around pooping. So, Coach Raymond, how do you poop on the carnivore diet?
That's actually at first I thought that was the silliest question that people would ask me. But I started thinking about it and I was like, this is a really good question. So we're propagandized to say that we have to have fiber to poop. And obviously that does help us get the voluminous big long logs that I used to get when I was on a carb-based diet. I used to get these big long logs for my poop. And so the question is, hey, how are you going to manage to poop at all since you don't have the volume anymore? Now I can tell you, obviously, I've been doing this for 3 years, so obviously I'm pooping. Now, what does happen during the transition period when you initially start off the carnivore diet, you'll notice you'll not go for a while. Or there's the opposite people, they'll just have diarrhea constantly. And apparently, and it has to do with the fiber in the body. When the fiber starts finally flushing out, the body has to realize, hey, how am I going to poop? Which is a great question. The body has to figure out how it's going to eliminate its dead cells and also its repair tissues and waste. It has to figure it out. So that may take it a while, or it may just start flushing everything out. And the way we tell people to alleviate that is to make sure that they get their salts in so that they can have more of a regular electrolyte balance in case they just flush out. And that's if you do it extremely. Now, usually, typically, it takes about 1 to 2 weeks for the body to kind of adapt into this new environment, which is totally okay. As far as the constipation, though, what happens is that the body is kind of absorbing everything and it's holding everything back because it doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't know how to eliminate the extra. It also sucks up all the meat. Meat doesn't go to waste. What happens is the dead cells in your body does though. So whenever there's a cells that needs to be repaired and chunked out and whatever, so it starts collecting all of it up and puts it in a waste capsule and it eliminates it out of your body. Now, without the transport of the fiber binding to it, obviously it's going to be smaller. So you're going to have smaller poops. You're going to have later on less odorous poop because you'll have less toxic waste following along. Initially, a lot of toxins will come out. So we call that initial adaptation phase like a detox effect, and it all has to come out of your waste.
Interesting. And I definitely noticed because when I was a vegetarian, I would go to like the all you can eat salad bar and I would be so happy because I was really into fiber, right? I would eat all kinds of cruciferous vegetables and things and you would feel so glorious if you pooped out a giant log as you say and it's floating and the doctors even tell you that that's a sign of a healthy poop, right? That it's floating on the surface. And then now since I've gone carnivore and now with ribeye only, I hardly ever poop because as you say, it's a low residue way of eating because everything's being utilized from the fuel. And there's very little toxin that has to be evacuated from the body. And as you said, I had all that happen. I poop so much less, I produce so little, and it stinks a lot less and I have no gas and no stomach ache. And you don't feel like how you usually would feel with it just kind of like lodged, when you're waiting for your all that fiber to push its way through. And
Yes.
ironically, I was constipated when I was vegetarian. So I was either super constipated or I would try to eat enough to cause that big blast out, right? So I think that's really fascinating the way you explained it. So people shouldn't be worried if they're pooping like over time after the transition period. They shouldn't be concerned about not pooping every day or even every 5 days, right?
That's right. As long as there is no discomfort as far as, because I'll not go for 5 days at a time, maybe longer, but I don't pay attention to it because when I need to go, I'm ready to go. And it's very easy to eliminate. And I'm done, in like 5 minutes. I'll give you a comparison. In my carb days, it used to take me 30 minutes to an hour to eliminate. And I used to have a good routine. I used to read certain things, play games. I mean, I spent so much time in the bathroom, and that was 2 to 3 times a day. Now, all of a sudden, going from almost once a week sometimes, or once every 3 days or so, it's hardly anything to think about. But it kind of ruined my routine. But talk about time gain. Wow, I gained so much time because of that.
Yeah, I
So
feel
I'm
the
much more
same
productive.
about not spending so much time, and like you said, I don't have an issue anymore where I just know when I need to go and it's easy. There's no
Exactly.
time spent, you know, and
Exactly.
I think back to, I mean, if you think about it, how much culture there is around pooping, that I remember straining so much that I would have to fold myself over, right? And I had practiced so much yoga, so I would try to engage all these muscles and everything to try to get myself to go. And they sell the squatty potty, where you prop
Yes.
your feet up.
I almost got one. Yeah.
I actually did get one because I need that. I needed to like, and then you're straining, so then you end up with like hemorrhoids and you end up
Yes.
bleeding, and
I had all that.
your butt is always sore, right? Everything's
Yes.
always sore. And it's like now I actually got a little bidet sprayer. So it's a little attachment. So I almost use no toilet paper because not only is it not mucky, but I'm not straining, and and not to be TMI, but my whole zone down there has totally healed. Like the tissue, everything's just like completely blissfully happy. There's no itching, there's no straining, no hemorrhoids, no blood. So I think, this sounds a little gross, but I think we need to talk about it because people are afraid of, they think they're going to get colon cancer. They've been told that, red meat will rot in their intestines and all of that. Do you have any thoughts on that aspect of things?
First of all, I want to agree with you with the hemorrhoids because I had them. It would that's where all the poop would lodge. So that's what made it harder to wipe. And I would wipe until I'd start bleeding sometimes because you never seem to be able to get it all off.
Hmm.
No, it's like one or two wipes totally done, and you're just like, wow, so easy because there's no lump that gets in the way of any of that, gets caught in that. But as far as the colon cancer and all, there's I I I can tell you that if my hemorrhoids have gotten better to the point where it's no longer there, I would think if anything causes colon cancer, it would be the fiber and the carbs that's irritating the colon every time you're trying to expel. So to me, that would more than likely cause cancer because we're talking about tears in the tissue, and that would develop these pustules and these growth because it's trying to protect the cells from tearing. If you don't have that and you have easy elimination, then none of that has a need to grow there. That's my opinion.
Right, that's great. And well, everybody, thank you, Coach Raymond, and poop on and poop happily, and don't fear the poop.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you.
Janice.
Thank you, Raymond. We'll see you in the next episode.